Welcome to the Finjan Show. I'm your host, Faris Alami. I want to thank you for being here with us. These podcasts have been sponsored by my firm, International Strategic Management, and by a nonprofit, Connecting Dots Globally. I encourage you to please visit these two sites, connectingdotsglobally.org and myisminc.com. We do entrepreneurship and small business development, mainly working with organizations that supports these entrepreneurs in underserved or underrepresented communities. The majority are minorities. And we've been doing that in over 100 countries all over the world. Lucky and fortunate to be part of it. I'm thankful for your support and your engagement. Okay, so today's show, we wanted to discuss one of the things that many people have been asking is really these habits and what to do with habits. And what I will tell you is I learned really quickly that the habits that you create makes you who you are. And what I mean by that is you become the person that are the habits that you're creating. The way you do that is really simple. What do you do every day? What do you do every month? What do you do every year? And whatever your answers are for each one of these questions are, then that becomes who you are. So let's take an example. What do you do every day? Do you wake up and work out? Do you wake up and start working? Do you wake up and read? Do you wake up and talk? Do you wake up and do what? Whatever you wake up and do, that routine is going to become who you are. Now, I'm not going to say that that's all who you are, because we all know that we're all much more complex than the activities that we make every day. I'm saying that these activities every day makes you the person that you are, the way that you are today. So if you're used to waking up every morning, that's just going to be you today or 10 years from now. Now, I'm not saying that you can't change and that you couldn't change and then you shouldn't change. I'm just saying that based on the activities that you've been doing and that you are currently doing, that makes you who you are. So you might want to think about what habits do you want to create every day to make you feel good and accomplish the things that you need to do. For many years, people have asked me, first, how can you possibly go overseas and just get on the plane and then work right away? And what I said is really simple. I've created a habit that once I land somewhere, just to keep going, right? That I don't stop and act as if I've been there before and work as if I've been there before. That allowed me to just get up the next day and then just go to a meeting right away. Sometimes even landing to a meeting right away. And the reason that happened is because in my mind, it was nothing more than just a drive, or nothing more than just a ride to get to where I need to go so I could do what I need to do. So these little habits that I created had helped me over the years, for now almost 10, travel around the world and be productive in every country without losing what I'm going to call the travel time and the travel rest that is needed to make things happen. Now, of course, you could check with me in a couple of years from now and see how well I'm doing with that. But for now, that's where I'm at for the past 10 years, right? And this is what I mean, like what you do every day becomes who you are. The second thing I'm going to encourage you to do is think about creating, I'm going to call it a routine habit, right? A routine habit allows you to make and accomplish things long-term. A lot of times we try to do things because we want to just get things done. I understand, I work with entrepreneurs and leaders that they don't want to be waiting for something to happen. They want to make something happen right now. I get it. Unfortunately, sometimes it just needs that persistence and it needs that repeat for it to make it happen. What I mean, you want to change the entrepreneurship culture in your community. You want to see some more startups because you run an economic development agency, or you run a government that you want to see your country is doing more and more in entrepreneurship. Well, you could start today, but unfortunately, nothing will happen today. There might be some, I'm going to call them movements today, but the long-term effect comes only when you continue to do these things day in and day out for years. It can't be a fade, meaning that You started today and you ended 3 months from now or 6 months from now or a year from now because you didn't get what you wanted out of it. You have to give it the chance to get what it needs to get out of the society that you're implementing it in. Let's take a break and we'll come back and unfold this idea to see what we could learn or discuss from it. Thanks for being with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back. This is the Finjan Show. I'm your host, Faris Alami, and we're discussing today the habits that you create can make who you are. And one of the things I wanted to mention earlier, or I was discussing with you, is really the concept of wanting to make an entrepreneurial, I'm going to call it society in your community. You can't just set up an incubator, accelerator, or economic development agency and do a program here and there and say, I did that, nothing happened. Well, most programs I've worked in, when they first launched, absolutely nothing happened. And sometimes big things happened, but in the following week or the following month, nothing happened. And the reason why some of them became much more, I'm going to say, sustainable and resilient and successful, because they just kept on doing it. Now, they modified things, they've changed things, they edited things, but they just kept on doing it. So what I would suggest for those who are wanting to make an impact in a startup community or make a cultural change in your community is to think about what can you do for a long term. Economic development, although if you're talking about large corporations or attraction and retention of large corporations, I don't want to discuss that because sure, you can make an impact right away, at least physically, or at least what it looks like it. Whether it's true, sustainable, or long-term effect has on that community, we don't really know. Now, there are lots of studies out there that could advise and tell you on it, and I recommend that you should follow and read them. And I'm not telling you that you shouldn't do attract and return large corporations, because you should, and that's important as well. I'm just discussing here the specifics about entrepreneurship, small business, startups, and not only in the, I'm going to call them high tech, high growth, but I'm also talking about the coffee shops, the restaurants, the service industry of cleaning your office or home, or providing an IT company, whatever, or making a manufacturing of small appliances, or making a manufacturing, perfumes or colognes, whatever the case is. These things can take time. And my experience is somewhere between 10 to 15 years on a good day, and 15 to 20 years on an average. So those who make commitments for once in a while here and there commitment, I'm not saying that you shouldn't. I think you should. It's just please be aware that the results might not become reality till those 10 or 15 years passes by. I've been fortunate to work in some places where they were stressed and people were leaving them by the thousands daily. And with time, as they started reigniting the entrepreneurship culture and igniting that the small business important to the community, and by shedding a light on that journey can take long time, and shedding a light that it's okay to fail and learn from it, and to understand how to start and grow a business, with time, things started shifting around. As a matter of fact, many of the places I've been fortunate enough, not only in one country, but in several countries to go to and observe this movement starting very small, sometimes with 5 or 10 people, grows to 50 or 100, and then thousands in multiple countries, in Europe, in Asia, in Africa, in the US, of course, in my own town in Michigan, or state in Michigan. All these things happened not overnight, but generally speaking, in no less than 5 years, and most of them 10 to 15 years. Now, if you fuse more cash or more energy into it, it probably could go faster. The reason I say that because most of the places I worked in were underserved or underrepresented with no resources. A little bit of resources can get you even there much faster. And a little bit of talent can get you there much faster because you could avoid some of those mistakes that others might have done before you. Thanks for joining us today. I'm your host, Faris Alami, and this is the Finjan Show.